We're going to be using thermal imaging. So why would we want thermal imaging inside of a ghost hunt?
Because places are cold, ghosts are colder.
Right, exactly. So I think me and Randy are going to go have a good time.
The rest of us are just along for the show.
I love it. This is so awesome. But anyway, he's actually right. So we're literally looking for cold spots. So this is a FLIR camera. So this is the real deal. This is not a phone app that you can actually go home and download. It's a camera attached to a cell phone. So as great as the hardware is, the software sucks. We're going to be doing a few starts and stops with this guy just because if we record for too long, we're going to lose footage, and I don't want to do that. So we always record anywhere between an hour to an hour and a half of footage based on a 2 to 2.5 hour time frame. So the cool thing with this guy is I'm the red, orange, and yellow guy, right? So I normally joke around like, hey, I'm the hottest thing inside the frame, especially when I have that drunken bridal party in front of me. I mean, it really works. But I point it out on purpose because we're looking for blue and black to either move or take shape on its own. When I say take shape, I want heads, shoulders, moving arms, and legs. Like, that's what we're looking for. So kind of get that gist. Have we caught those things on this camera before? Yes, we have. Is it every night? No, it is not. Again, not a TV show, guys. So, this guy is super cool also because there's a blue dot bouncing around the screen showing the exact coldest spot in the frame at that particular moment. So when you guys get your video back, which you will get the full video back, I'm looking for 15 plus degree temperature drops. We're 72 degrees ambient temperature out here tonight, so that means we're going to be looking for 57 degrees and colder, if I did my math correctly in my head. So any mathematicians in the head that want to correct me, by all means do so. Poor Jack, he has no leash. But anyway, so again, I'm going to start. It's a tap. You got it. You'll feel it click. Just click and release.
I can't see. Here.
It's indented.
Did you get it? I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know.
You got it? So, nope, you didn't. So it's right where my thumb is. Quick tap. All right. Everybody else got theirs up and running? That's any good? Yep. Yep. All right. So let's talk about who the heck these people were. Charles and Eliza had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Chucks. That's why we look for secondary clues, everybody. I need to know which Charles is coming through. So, with that said, the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. It's a big deal for us, but I hate politics more than everybody here. We're going to move on. If I don't bring it up, they will do it for me very angrily through a spirit box, if you guys are getting my point. If they just want that recognition of me coming here every night. Now, we're going to talk about Eliza. She has a much better story anyway. Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards. If you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, do not expect numbers from the colonial times that she came from, like 12 and 14. Think of today's standards, because her husband was over double her age. Kind of a creepy age gap in the 1700s, definitely a creepy age gap now, yes.
We went to 12.5 and then shot down.
That's why it's called ghost hunting. They don't stand still. So that's beautiful. 12.5 is the new baseline for you, so don't give me anything below that 12.5.
That's a big jump.
Do I need to explain what the EMF is like right away so we know what kind of numbers we're looking at, or do you want me to explain them before we leave? Do we want to see how high they go before I freak anybody out like Haley? Sorry, she's like my one person that's a little anxious. Is she our 14th person, by the way? Who is the additive?
I think we just forgot somebody originally.
Yeah, we just forgot to add.
Anyway, I'll explain that before this space. Let's get back to Eliza. She married Charles because her father was over in England. He thought he was dying. He's trying to bring all of his children home one last time. Eliza didn't believe he was dying, and instead she stayed put and got married. It's 1744. You don't get married in that year to get a green card. We're not a country yet. So she did marry him out of love. There's no foul play. Do not poke the bear if you're going to be asking her questions about her marriage. So kind of keep that in mind. She was right. Dad did not die right away. Instead, he starts sending her gifts from England to where we're standing. One of those gifts happens to be the plant seeds of indigo. You guys have been in town for at least an hour that I know of. You've seen the word indigo somewhere because it's planted all over town. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. I guarantee you somebody's wearing it tonight because that's how we use it. When Eliza got her seeds, she didn't know what to do with it. She had to learn from her slaves and servants how to keep it cultivated. And when she figured it out, because it's not always hot here, she had to make the dye. When she did that, she moved it to a cash crop plantation just south of here by the Stono River. Then, she got a hold of her father and said, rice plantations are going downhill. We're going to make a killing with this indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial times. So this is something absolutely unheard of. That's the boring business stuff of Eliza. Let's get into the weird shit, because that's why you guys are all here. Every type of spirit box is going to, like I said, get a set of focus questions. So kind of keep that in mind. And by the way, you guys don't need to have those antennas up. I would actually prefer if you didn't have them up so high.
I thought it made it different.
It's only just going to give you more gobbledygook. So,
Oh, cool. I don't
Yeah.
want that.
yeah, exactly. So, not to mention, I don't want them to break off so we don't get a signal at all, if that makes
that
sense.
would suck.
Yeah, that would bad. It's
I don't know
happening.
if this is relevant, but what you were just talking about is that word.
It does. It's vague. I would want something else with it to
Okay.
verify it.
All right.
But yeah, you're on the right track. So let's kind of go through the spirit boxes and kind of give them a series of questions. If you're not getting question or answers to your direct questions, cherry pick off of somebody else's. It does work out that way. Remember, we don't know where the answers are going to go. So, Jason, and where's the other red one? Keep losing.
Katie.
Katie. I had the name down, I just couldn't find it. So Jason and Katie, I'm going to give you guys the same set of questions. I'm going to probably pair this up because a lot of these spirit boxes work the same way. Eliza's death. It's going to be how old she was when she died, what she died from, where she's buried, what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. Those are the four majors that we commonly get answers to around here. So those would be your focus questions. Next spirit box that we have is going to be Randy.
Yep.
And where
I got the number 24.
she didn't die at the age of 24.
Okay, I don't know.
Alright. So I'm gonna write that one down just because it might be relevant later on. So where's the other earbud one? Who has the other earbud? Flynn, right? All right. So Flynn and Randy, you guys have similar style spirit boxes as well. So the mansion's not here anymore. So you can ask what happened to it and when did that happen. Obviously, a specific date is what we're looking for here. Normally, if we get the what, we will get 2 or 3 numbers out of the when. The reason why you have these kind of set of questions, very simple, is because your devices only give 1 and 2 syllables out at a time. So that's the reason why for that one. So the Ouija board and the word generator list. So where are those folks at? So Kai. I want to get it. Melissa, right? All right, so Kai and Melissa, you two kind of have the same set of information. You're looking for similar things. So Eliza that we just spoke about is the second wife named Eliza from Charles back to back. So he had 2 wives named Eliza. One died in January. 5 months later, he marries the one we just talked about. So kind of a jerk move, right? Ironically, both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. You are mainly looking for those initials, E-L-P, in that order. No mixing up. I want to make sure we get it in that order.
Okay.
But with yours, specifically, we're looking for which Eliza are we dealing with
I
by
heard
asking the maiden name.
24 again and something about a crash.
That's an interesting piece.
Yeah.
It's not relevant to here, but it is an interesting piece. I'll talk about that one later. So 24 and crash. You're also going to have the marriage questions because yours also comes up with numbers. It will give you numbers spelled out. So you can ask her how old she was, how old Chuck was, and how long they were married. So those are kind of the similar questions that come out of those. I think that covers all of the communication devices. And I also have a spirit box that I missed. There is one with an open-ended speaker.
I got 2.
All right, so yeah, that's that one. You could cherry pick off of anything that suited your fancy out of anybody else. So, because that's the one I don't normally bring out, so I don't have a separate set of questions for that style. I would mainly go after probably her death questions: how old, where, what, and what president. So those are the 4 majors that we get out of that.
I got 40. 40.
24 and 40.
Code.
And crash. And 12.5 milligauss. So do we get anything higher than that 12.5?
17.5.
Nice.
How you doing it? I get nothing.
Well, Randy's box was going off, and then it spiked real quick. And then it dropped.
All right, so what's going to happen here is I'm going to have to keep Kai behind so I can show how to use that device a little bit more specific. Everybody else, start spreading out, stay away from vehicles. That's the main priority here with this many people. I'm going to bounce around with everybody, see what's going on, do 1 full round robin, and bring it back to the
You're 2-1 right here. So like, whenever I look at one,
bunch of bitches.
How about something coming toward me?
Wild.
Get out of the frame, bud.
Is there any codes? There's
No.
all kinds of codes. Oh, you gotta have a code with on it.
Well, that's a car window. Plane? Yeah.
Right. And that's what you want.
No,
Oh,
yeah, it's going crazy.
kept splashing.
only the ground.
Oh, it went up to, it's going red.
15 on there already, Dad?
Yeah, it was getting up to the fourth one.
Yeah, so that's a 15 to a 20. That's good. That kind of matches up with what.
Any cold spots?
No.
No cold orbs?
So at this point, you know, only recording it, we can code that.
Oh, okay.
So if you go all the way to red, we're looking at the next thing. All right.
Any cold spots?
No. There's a real hot one just here. The car windows keep getting me because they're all freezing apparently. And all the car windows are black.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see any like.
See blue bodies?
No,
No blue
no, I
bodies?
don't. I just see the car windows. Car windows are crazy.
Yeah. Rooftop places.
Car window. It's all the dark spots are car windows.
See, Hudson, if you live somewhere cool, you can go to rooftop restaurants. Hang out. Some drinking drinks. Some blue drinking drinks.
Or go to the beach. We're at
Going to the beach tomorrow, buddy. Back to Boston. Beach trip.
No, you're kidding.
Wait. It's just the car windows. They're all over.
Okay, yeah.
You hit a few buttons, by the way. I was just not reading this. Is that what you're doing? Just get I got it.
Here, no, I'm
Pull
gonna
it.
hold it for you.
Pull it.
Randy's getting into it. Here, let me open
It's just car windows.
it. Not the worst one to try to open.
You can just sub.
What's the to-do?
Substitute. Substitute ranch.
Right here, I didn't touch it.
Thank you. Can you get the self? Thank you.
get the snapper, Jessica. Oh, you're stalking. I'd be like, I love that. Yeah.
You killed them.
Randy, you got
Buddy.
anything?
Good buddies.
Check your temperature. You gotta keep hold your head still. Uh-oh. We gotta...
You're
shoot.
recording me. No.
90.6.
It's gonna be recorded.
Fair question. Jason, you got anything else?
Another 24 and 48.
I want to make sure yours is not.
Yeah, sure. Hard to... Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Need to go.
You asked back there, you're asking the slave directly. It's about Eliza. Slaves, we get a name of a slave. I can't prove it because there's no records. They say that Elijah freed the slaves in there, but I can't prove it. What do you got now, Chris?
Anybody go out with a hanging?
Here?
Yeah.
No. When you have the word hanging come through on a radio station, that's pretty awesome. Like, it is and it isn't, if you kind of get my point. But it is very interesting that you have the word hanging on there.
To record, did you see her? She's working later. She came up in my car. She's looking. Here we are. These things walking around the parking lot.
Whoa.
It's going to be on video, isn't it?
He's gonna have to watch through it.
What was your boy's name?
All right, let's bring everybody back. I'll show you how this is all coming together. All right, come on, we're going to group everybody up. You don't have to hang out by a dumpster. All right, if you have a video camera and you want to give your hands a break, go ahead and feel free to stop your videos. That way you can kind of relax a little bit. In here to hunt down my other good friend, Remy. You guys can all guess what kind of animal Remy is. Right. So, Remy, we're in his domain, so if he moves around, he's not going to go near us. He just kind of stays in the brush, just so you guys know around us. Good. Jackie actually belongs to one of the churches nearby, and they do that to try to, they say that the devil stays in the corners of the cemetery, so they have a bunch of cats that roam around the cemetery to try to chase out the devils. That's the rumor around that. But I think he's just there just to get rid of the rats. So, she's trying to get more. Is she okay?
Oh yeah, she's good.
Okay.
Probably dropped something.
She dropped something.
She dropped her vape.
Yeah, don't lose that. But anyway, video cameras, with yours specifically now, Randy, so when people come by, you're just basically going to grab that top handle. And we want to get some footage in here, not sideways, grab the top handle. Boop. And then you want to like just hold it like a suitcase, but everybody else kind of like keep it at belly level, if you guys are getting my point, so that way we're not looking very suspicious down here, if that makes sense. So, and Kaylin's got it down perfectly, she's got it. But this is Philadelphia Alley, in case you didn't read the sign. So, Randy, I think, read the sign. He's like, we're going to Philadelphia. But anyway, this used to be called Duelers Alley. So this is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. So I say some of the duels because it was illegal during the 1700s, and they had to go find their hiding spot to go let this event actually occur. So this was one of those spaces. Every ghost tour comes down here, like I said, because we can all prove that this specific duel occurred, and I'm going to tell you the same story that everybody else does, but with a little bit more detail because you're ghost hunting and not doing ghost like marshmallow and campfire kind of stories. So let's kind of get into it. There's a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. For those of you with spirit boxes and you're still listening in, if you get the song Brown Eyed Girl, it's not coincidence, it's part of the doctor's name, and yes, we get it here all the time. But anyway, if you guys are getting my point with that. Dr. Ladd moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash flow. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. He tells Amanda to get rid of the doctor. So he comes to Charleston to prove that he's not. He's going to start his medical practice here. As he's coming into town, the coachman that brought him in set him up to be robbed and killed. He had a gunman inside the building where he was supposed to stay. Somebody was walking by and seen what was about to happen. By the way, does anybody else smell something very specific, like very sweet? Just very weird. Anyway, sorry, I do that all the time, so you guys gotta like catch me, like Nick, get back on track here. But anyway,
Smells like gum.
It smells flowery.
Flowery, yeah.
I got a whiff. Just a minute ago.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
I thought it was perfume.
Okay, could have been. I thought somebody may have been vaping, but I didn't see any puffs. But anyway, but this guy walking by, his name is Ralph Isaacs, and this is part of where I stop on purpose because he has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Ralph Isaacs, Rhode Island. The letters R.I. were coming through on those red spirit boxes and the ones with the earbuds all the time. Like somebody was spelling something for us with the letters R.I., but that's all we would hear out of the spelling. So I decided to buy that Ouija board device. That's exactly why we have it. Normally during this time, in the past 6 months, I would say 4 or 5 times, we've actually had the letters R.I. come up on that device as I'm telling you about Ralph. So I kind of take that for what it is, consecutively. So those are the letters we're specifically looking for, are the letters R.I. in that order. Ralph tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy. He's got a gunman inside. He's going to try to kill you. Come with me. We're going to go to 59 Church Street, and you can rent a room from them. They're friends of mine, and you'll be safe. Doctor took him up on the offer. They became friends. The longer the doctor stays here in Charleston, the more money he's making. His medical practice is taking off, and he's proving his point that he's not after Amanda's cash. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. Here's what I'm going to tell you about whistling ghosts. Every haunted city has a cliched whistling ghost. We have one too. There's actual proof of this one, but we're going to get into that as we kind of move along. You can hopefully find something for that for yourself in all of your media. But anyway, Dr. Ladd and Ralph go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. They talk about these plays on the way home. They go see Richard III from Shakespeare one night, and they're arguing over the new actress. Dr. Ladd thought she was great. Ralph didn't. The argument turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. It's very ugly. They go their separate ways. Now, Ralph has friends around town. He goes to his friends at the newspaper, puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of mentality. The doctor saw the ad, rebutted with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. We're going to settle this shit and somebody's going to die. So they came down, they took their 10 paces. The doctor turned, pointed his gun in the air, and he shot. He did not want to kill his friend. He shot his one shot into the air. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight, which is often what happened at a duel. But Ralph, he has his one bullet. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Dr. Ladd doesn't die either, but he drops to the ground, and his friends picked him up and carried him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later, November 2nd of 1786, after refusing medical treatment. Why did he refuse medical treatment? It's 1786. Gunshot wounds were a lot different than what we think of them as now. He probably tried to bleed out the lead poisoning from the bullet wound himself, and instead he failed and died. So, every ghost tour will tell you, do you hear how quiet it is right now? It's always this quiet. A busy Saturday afternoon, this is what this alley sounds like unless that air conditioning is running over there, which is very loud. They say to listen for the whistles of the doctor. Good thing for you is we have 3 video cameras and my voice recorder running right now. If there's going to be a whistle in the background, it's going to be on one of those 4 devices. What I will also tell you is that if you're going to try this on your own and go all the way down to the end of the alley, I can't take you down there because I've actually been kicked out of here. We're going to talk about that in just a second because that's the fun part of the story. But anyway, if you're going to try it on your own, and I got Trent's attention back there, and he's like, yeah, let's talk about how Nick almost got arrested. Anyway, his eyes were as big as plates back there. Turn on your voice recorders on your phone and listen for those whistles in the background. What I will tell you is that every local also knows this story, so anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street throws a whistle down the alley. I do it every single morning once I'm done with your guys' data going back to my vehicle. So, and I do it especially since I got kicked out of here to mess with any other tour that might actually be down here. Let's get into that, because Tritt's really excited back there. Anyway, but I still think I got most of your guys' names down. There's a couple of gentlemen I'm screwing up, but I got most of them down. I'm surprised at myself. Patting myself on the back over here. But anyway, this alley didn't go all the way through this way. This should also, by the way, give you an idea of how I actually piece things together. There was a wall halfway between us and where Cumberland ends, which is exactly why I stopped right here. The reason why is because this is where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston. This used to be called Cow Alley before it was Dueler's Alley, which means the bricks that all the way at the other end are older than the ones we're standing on. Those bricks at the other end are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child done at the end and some fingerprint swipes and other bricks. I used to take people all the way through to go show off those bricks and kind of go over the history. Not as a piece of like, hey, we're going to find a ghost, because I treat that brick with the handprint the same way I do a grave. That's the last place you're going to find that kid. November 26th of 2020. I take my entire team of 10 down there. They're all huddled around that damn brick waiting for something to happen from all of their devices. I'm trying to shoo them along because I know nothing's going to happen, and I'm also trying to be respectful because it's outside the kitchen window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I didn't know I was out of bounds. The new owner of the mansion came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because she was on the tour that night, and her dad's getting yelled at. We moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't tour on Thanksgiving because I worked in retail management for over 20 years and higher management for Walmart. If you can kind of get the gist of why I'll never work another day on Thanksgiving in my life. So, but anyway, the next day was November 28th. So I called my partner that I had at the time and I told him what happened. And he's laughing at me. He's like, dude, you can't go down that far. You can only go down halfway, or you got to reroute the group. So it's Black Friday. I'm sold out again. And I told my team, I don't believe in the next story. I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. Obviously, we're discussing pirates next. And somebody said, well, they actually heard something on their spirit box. They heard the name Anne coming out of a spirit box. I didn't tell them who we were going to be investigating. It was the famous female pirate Anne Bonny, which is obviously who we're going to be discussing next. So I'm like, all right, maybe we will get something. The next we get up there, I told them what little bit I did know about piracy. Somebody else heard the number 300. I don't know what it means, just like the number 24 earlier. I wrote it down. I'm going to research it tomorrow. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy, November 28th of 1720. The exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial. So here's what I'm going to tell you. You guys are all excited about that. My shoulders slumped and went, damn it. So here's the reason why. We're going to let these folks pass. How you doing, guys?
Hey, good. How are you?
Hey.
Good. So, master's degree in creative writing. Pirate stories are based out of pirate lore. I like facts. I like things, even if it's fiction, I like it to be based off of some kind of truth. And especially when I'm doing investigations, I want to make sure we're trying to get as much factual data as possible. Pirate lore doesn't give us that unless you read a shit ton of books, which is exactly what I've been doing ever since that day. I've read more books on piracy than I ever wanted to in my entire life. I've played video games on piracy that I never wanted to play. I watched more documentaries on pirates that I never wanted to watch, just to make sure like what we're discussing has at least a minimum of 2 resources to make sure what we're doing is as accurate as possible. It is a hit. Yeah, Black Flag. I just started it again yesterday. I had the night off because it rained. So I was like, oh, let me start this one up back up again. I'm a big AC fan too, by the way. I love them all. But anyway, back to the next location. It's a hit or miss. We're either going to get a lot or nothing. So Pinckney Mansion site, little on the later side. I'm always honest with you guys. I don't know what you guys are hearing or capturing here because obviously I'm talking and we're not really discussing. So once we get over there, you're going to get things from this location and hopefully from the Anne Bonny story that I'm going to tell you. So before we leave the space, I know Jessica's getting bored over there. You gotta wake her up. Gotta get her moving and working again. Somebody's gonna have to swap a device with Jessica so she doesn't have the boring picture taking all night long. The gate behind me. Normally I take the, just so you guys know, the K2 meter. Who has the K2 meter? Kevin?
Yeah.
Kevin and the picture taker are normally one person. So that's usually how I set up my groups of 10.
We're
But
husband and wife, so it works.
that actually worked out. I split you guys up. Who's the better half? I won't get into that question. But the gate. This gate, not a whole lot of people know why it's here. Remember that the alley didn't go all the way through this way? In the event there was a loser to a duel, this was the shortcut to get to the cemetery on this side. Otherwise, they'd have to go all the way down to the end, to Queen Street, and double back to get up to the cemetery with dead weight. Remember, a loser is a dead guy. Like, that's heavy weight. So this was a shortcut that they created. The wrought iron that you see in there is probably put there in the early 1900s, but you can see by the tough archway that it was actually part of the original alleyway wall. So, very interesting piece. I call it the Death Gate. Nobody else has named it or dubbed it that, but I can't even remember where the hell I found it. What's that?
It works.
Yeah, Death Gate works. Yeah. All right, we ready to learn about some rated R pirates? Yep. Yeah, some of you got my damn joke. My bad dad joke.
Okay, I love you.
Bye, Jody.
Kirsten, I got mad. I told her I had to go. I like it. She's like, oh, are you on flight?
Oh, she wanted to go to the church.
Well, he has
Got up to 3.1.
Yeah, 2.1?
Yeah.
We got what number? 3.1. Up to like the 5 to 7 is because of the lampposts.
Oh, I also heard the number, or I also heard.
You having fun?
Oh, yeah.
I just like to see it does
got
look
one.
annoying.
Give me the last 5 terms.
One, my mother, separate, silent, and pit.
Hit?
Yeah.
Any other words being heard on the spirit boxes?
That's a street.
I don't feel like anything wrong with
I'm trying.
it. I know, it's very like.
Not easy. Spirit boxes are actually the hardest job algorithms. That's actually kind of my expertise. So when I get called to another investigative team, it's because of my
Everybody wants this new stupid ass
You made it
thing.
out. Well,
I said, watch it. Everybody wants this stupid ass thing.
I can switch. Oh well, I mean, it's gone now.
Syllables?
yeah, so there's a glowing dot that I can't seem to get rid of.
Okay, I'm like, who's moving with it?
Glenn was like, oh my god.
Alright. She did. She got so excited. And what number?
Anything above 2.5 when we're not around lights and stuff.
Where's your phone?
And do I need to do anything here?
He said every now and then switch it
Getting lots of Miley Cyrus.
and just see if the
I was too.
Heck yeah.
numbers still on the same frequency.
I mean, I would keep it about there. Yeah, because your phone gives off pulses.
The only other thing I've heard is get a quarter pounder.
I heard. I want a quarter.
Ooh, go to McDonald's.
Who's in the back seat?
Oh,
I think I'm gonna go on that quarter.
Probably
Probably me.
Six.
Probably me. Quarter pounder.
Oh, we walked by that big McDonald's.
Yeah.
Ronald McDonald.
We did.
I got
I don't know why they got
50 pounder.
Can someone hold this?
Honeysuckle. Yes.
Are you sure?
All right.
And it's recording.
Trick,
Yeah,
anything going
and
on in that
sound.
little guy back there?
John Way, a little bit of Reba.
A little bit of Reba. All right, so this is where I get to set the bag down. Not that the bag is heavy tonight, but this story can be a little animated. So as you guys are rotating around through the porta potty, I'm just going to go ahead and get started if you guys are good with that. Every tour, well, a lot of tours come through here too, and they're here to discuss the little tiny building up front with the crosses on it. We're going to discuss it too, only because it's the reason why we're here. So those are not crosses on that building. I know we did hear a cross 6,000, so Jason actually heard that on the way here. So again, I kind of took that as a cross and then the number 6,000, so I don't know if that's going to have any relevance, but we also have the My Mother piece on the word generator list right now, and that's an interesting piece if something else is going to pop up with that. Just because I want to say we're really close to another story. There's like 15 stories on this corner. I stick to the pirate story, but anyway, back to the crosses. Sorry, I'll go off on tangents, guys, because I could do this all night long. But the crosses are earthquake bolts. If you're not familiar with what an earthquake bolt is, it's a turnbuckle. So it goes all the way through the roof, and on the other side, it looks exactly the same way. So if we have another earthquake, you can tighten them, and it's supposed to tighten the building back up so it doesn't incur any further damage after the earthquake. Sounds like a great idea, but that shit don't work. The reason I bring it up is because those earthquake bolts, those very crude ones on that front of that building, those are the very first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in, simply because it's the oldest government building in South Carolina. So you were correct. Those are earthquake bolts in that building as well. They're just a little bit more modern. But those very crude ones is because of that building over in the front. That building was finished in 1713. It was being constructed at the same time that Anne Bonny came here to start a new life. So that's why we're here. For Randy, who watches all the TV shows, he'll tell you that they use some kind of teddy bear device. It has a bunch of motion sensors in it and voice talkers, and they do that when they're trying to talk to a child ghost, simply because I smell that smell again, by the way.
It's hand sanitizer. She's spraying hand sanitizer.
Okay. Oh. That's what it is. Bingo. I'm like, it's the exact same smell. I know what it is.
Lavender.
Got it.
Sorry.
You gotta put me to sleep up here. But That child toy is basically so that way that the child recognizes it. This is one of the few buildings we have in this relative era of when it was being built, still here. So we're here because this is what I call a familiar building to Anne Bonny. So this is a familiar haunting. Kind of gives you that idea. So the building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? No, not at all. So anyway, the history begins right in the middle of its construction. So try to follow me. There's a lot of weird little pirate, crazy chick twists in this, so I'll slow down on those twists. So 1708, a young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormac. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Is everybody with me so far? Okay, I got some head nods, good. So the three of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How pissed was she that she kicked them out of the country by boat? It's 1708, there's no planes. So, kind of anyway, they landed in Georgetown. That's between us and Myrtle Beach. So that kind of gives you an idea of where they landed. Dad bought a plantation, Mom dies pretty quickly. That means he's sending young Anne down here to sell anything from that plantation to keep things afloat. So, hence the familiar building. Now, with that said, back home in Ireland, Anne was said to be a badass even back then. They say at the age when she was 7, 8, 9 years old, remember it's pirate lore, there's no exact numbers here, that she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. We have had the terms servant, knife, and belly all show up in the same evening from where the other two people didn't know what the other two people had, if that makes sense. So, fast forward, the building's done in 13. Pirates are starting to come through Charlestown in 1715. Anne is pretty stoked. Why? She's going to fall in love, so she can earn her freedom, just like a man. So, first guy she falls in love with. I said first because there's a handful. We're going to go through every one of them. That's what makes the story interesting. So, first guy is James Bonny. You already see where this one's going. We've mentioned Anne's pirate name already. Dad didn't approve. He's a filthy pirate. They ran away to Jamaica, got married. Anne Cormac is now Anne Bonny. That's where her name came from. However, when she gets down there, she realizes that James Bonny is not Captain Jack Sparrow like what she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer. He's a spy, a coward. Spy for the British, no less. So, a few years go by and she falls in love again. This is John Rackham, but they call him Calico Jack. This is the guy they based your Johnny Depp character off of, in case you were wondering who this guy is. So, Calico Jack has his own ship. Anne wants to be part of the crew of that ship, but you can't put a female on that crew. Does anybody know why? And keep it family friendly. Bad luck. Thank you. It is bad luck. So, with that said, I get a lot of raunchy answers to that. That's why I have to keep the tone down a little bit. But anyway, he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and look like the crew, you can be part of the crew. But you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this. Why? Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. She gets it. It's a man's world. But now she's a pirate and she's good to go. But most of us are adults here. Let's put 2 and 2 together. She is a female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl. And then they're going to vote Jack off the ship as captain. So he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby here, come back later, we'll figure it out later. So she comes and goes and has the baby, but returns without a child. We have no idea what happened to the baby. None of the books I've ever read about pirates have ever described what happened to that child. So, by the way, ask away. When you guys are out and about in this field, asking her questions. I don't know what the answer is, but if you get a direct answer, it might be true. I don't know. But anyway, the whole relevant part of that story, she comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack angry. Now everybody's going to know he let a girl on the crew, and they're going to vote him off the ship. So, while she was away giving birth, he captured another pirate crew. They're down below deck. She's going to go flirting, because that's who Anne is. She wants to make him even more mad. Guy number 3, in case you lost track. This is... Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the crew that Calico Jack captured. So, now we have 2 ladies, dressed like males, on the same ship, trying to be pirates. Her name was Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. So her and Mary became friends, possibly lovers. We're not going to really know for sure, but the British find out where they are. They send a fleet of ships to come take them down. Rumor is that Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with 1-bullet flintlocks. Obviously, that's not going to go very well against a whole fleet of ships. They get arrested. As they're being arrested, Anne looks at Captain Jack and she says, "I'm so sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog." So the word dog shows up on your spirit boxes a lot. Some people even claim to hear dogs barking on spirit boxes on the way in here. The judge wants to see the 2 men that fought back so valiantly on their own. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk crew that wouldn't fight. Anne and Mary go in front. They reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves, and the judge doesn't give a shit that they're female. They're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. "We plead our bellies," was the last thing they shouted out, because you can't hang a pregnant woman at 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging. Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne, brings her home, she remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4. We're going to count Mary. We don't really know. She has 4 kids, dies at the age of 84. very abrupt ending. We don't know much about her after her pirate career, and a lot of rumors will tell you she went up to Virginia and changed her name up there. Others will tell you that she stayed right here in South Carolina or Charleston to narrow it down even further. We'll never know. And we don't even know where she's buried. Mary Reed dies 5 months later in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. Most books tell you that it's fever. I say bullshit. Let's call it scurvy. Let's make it romantic. Why the hell not? Questions I left out on purpose. I'm not going to assign any questions. You're going to cherry pick and use whatever you want to. You can also, this is not a prominent English woman you need to tiptoe around. You can poke the bear in here. As I'll actually kind of encourage it. Like, get some damn answers out of this woman. This is not like, hey, Eliza, like, what can you tell me about your house? Like, this is, hey, Ann, what was going on with Calico Jack's ship? You know, those kind of mentality. Change your voice tone a little bit. Know your ghost. I left out the name of Ian Bonnie's parents on purpose, so that we had something to work with. That's the father and his mistress. I left out the name of Calico Jack's ship on purpose. The city where Anne grew up in Ireland. I left that out on purpose. And the color of her hair, which you can obviously guess is red. She's a very Irish lady. Green eyes, red hair. You guys get the point. Everything else is fair game. Ask whatever the hell you want to. As far as spirit boxes go, stay away from the two measly vehicles we have in here. I'll do the same thing like what we did before. If it's light, like what we had at the Eliza Pinckney Mansion site, then obviously I'll wrap it up quickly, give us the answers. And the last stop that we go to is kind of like a giant surprise. It's not in the same manner of what we've been doing. So I'll be surprising Randy, because this is his night, where you guys are going to have a blast with this. I can't wait to see have you guys see what I'm going to do to him. Yeah, I'm all about it. But we're going to have to change things up a little bit when we get to our last stop. But let's spread out. Let's have some fun in here. Just stay out of the way of the other tours and the vehicles. Let's do this. Did you figure out that EMF reading?
That's my favorite.
Yeah, but
Yeah, we've just been trying back and forth.
I don't have to ask questions.
Built in the 1700s. It's pretty cool. You see any green?
So what was the government building?
Huh?
What was the building?
He never did say. That was the government building. You can tell on the front too. Oh, I thought that's got the earthquake things, doesn't it?
Yeah, those are the
I'm saying
earthquake.
those aren't crosses. Those are the same thing as
Oh, I
those.
thought they were crosses.
They're earthquake tighteners.
Oh. It was one of the first government buildings. I wonder what it is now. It's like dilapidated. There's a little light in there. There's a little light in there.
It's somebody's house.
Oh.
Those are they still? They use these?
Yeah, they said it don't work.
They said those don't work.
Oh.
I don't know about these. They don't look like they do. They don't look like they do. I'm looking for them. He said to keep someone in the frame so we have a warm reference.
You got me in the frame.
Yes.
I'll get a picture of it. I don't know about this stuff. Who do we to me?
Do we? Who do? I don't know.
I might even know ghostesses. Once you're dead, you're dead.
I don't know.
Somebody was walking on the other side of that outside. But it didn't come up as a stick because it was too far away. I didn't see it go past, but I didn't see it go into the building.
It's a museum now. Like, it's super fascinating. Like, I'll go and tell you about the architecture of it. I used to talk to like resource people, so I started talking about the architecture.
See, I had that and I traded it off because I'd never got that.
I traded with Billy because it was hurting my arm. That was so awkward. It was awkward.
Did you get something?
If you see a dot, ignore the dot because he says there's a dot he can't get away.
Oh, I don't really. I mean, I don't know.
That's looking for orbs. It's looking for orbs.
That's what he said.
Is that a pleasant experience for you?
Oh, sorry.
Tell him orbs and he probably like it.
Yeah.
It's a museum.
Oh.
He says really interesting too. It tells you all about the architecture. They used it through 7 different wars to store stuff.
Oh, that's cool. Work on that back corner. No, isn't it a little risky and stuff?
Here, see that whole line where it was up against that tree.
Yeah, I see it now. They tore it down. I love that old brick, the mortar of the old brick.
Yeah, there's-
How it's messy, you know. And the bricks were, they weren't even.
Well, there's a pattern.
Saw something up there, but I think it was
You know, it's wide, narrow, wide, narrow, wide, narrow. See it?
Yeah, but then down
Then
here on
wide,
this one
narrow,
row,
wide.
it's not.
Yeah.
Where's your phone?
I guess they were getting
It's
fancy
pretty.
there.
I just like
Yeah,
the
good
grout.
looking.
I photographed all this. I got a really pretty one of the church over there. Well, if you walk to this, come over here to this corner.
You know what? There was a geocache in the Dealer's Alley.
There was.
Yeah.
Look at this, how pretty with that tree in it.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful night.
Yeah. That's off-road. with the Pro Wheels.
Yeah, and see the running board on that?
Yeah. Yeah, but they say those mess you up. They don't want not to get those. They say they're just for looks because it lowers. You're more likely to hit something.
I think it's pretty crappy if you left your lever in and make him jail. I mean,
My thing is, what about that baby, man? Where's your baby at?
what kind of hack are you? For leaving your Mary Reed in jail to die
And,
studying.
and your baby before that.
Scarves and shit. All Fuck that guy.
She was a badass in what she did to the captain.
Yeah.
There was something else that I started to say a minute ago.
Hey, babe.
That was stupid.
It's that dumb stuff. Okay, you'll think of it.
Yeah, because I kept hearing all kinds of like, I was like, oh, that's just like a song stuck for a minute. Okay.
And you guys still stuck Jessica with the camera.
Oh, I
We've
don't
asked to trade
care.
with her. She won't trade.
I snapped.
Did you get at least a couple of shots of the steeple?
Yeah, I went all the way to the corner too and got some. In the
On a
tree.
full moon night, it's right next to the steeple.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
905 hole.
I just got 90. Like, I was fixing to say that as you started talking. The DJ said that 905.
Just look for extra sticks that aren't people.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to know why she left Mary Reed in the jail.
It was either 905 or 95.
It wasn't her, it was her dad.
No,
Her dad only paid the judge off for one.
Kaylin, you look like a
Don't
stick.
take me, take my liver.
Still a pirate.
Could you do a dance? Oh, that's awesome. Oh, you're so crazy. Do a dance. Do a little jig.
So sad.
Oh, it's great.
Be true to your lover, Mary.
So
Or what?
And then the father.
This isn't so
bad.
He was mean. I mean, man.
Yeah, them two did not get along at all.
No, that's what it
Leave
said.
people in the
his
jail.
father.
Oh, on there?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Especially in Jamaica.
That's what I told her to do. I'm like, could you dance, please?
When you guys see the next spot with that one, that's where we caught most of the things that I can say are actual
If Jamaica's pouring out, imagine them in 1700s.
Bobby's just going around. You want to
Huts.
switch? You want to switch? He wants to try them all.
Would have been like huts.
So true.
That was his father.
You want to take some pictures? You want to take some pictures? Give me this.
300-year-old building.
You take some pictures. What am I watching for? 17.5, right?
What?
17.5.
Anything here.
Oh, I thought he said he wasn't registering.
No, anything here. I haven't had any here.
Oh, okay.
It starts over each location.
Okay.
Me and Kay did that. We have a island. Yeah. When we went to Ireland, where's the button? We have a piece of it.
Alright, so let's reboot back here and kind of tell you what's going on. So if you have a camera, please lower it because you have police officers in the lot. People get, somebody made a call kind of thing. So I just want to make sure we're not those people. So let's kind of cover the answers. I'm excited about a lot of things. Let's go ahead and get that thing muted, Chris. You figure out where the mute button was? Good. So I'm excited about a lot of things going on in here. First off, where's the tri-field meter again? That's the EMF detector that was giving us the reading. So we actually did get a couple of readings out of that guy tonight. So I'm pretty surprised by that. You didn't get anything out of yours?
No, I don't know. I got it from my
No, I think
daughter.
it was just switch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did
Yeah,
you
I
have it?
told him the last one I got.
Okay.
So I did get that one written down, but we got all the way up to a 7 or 9. Like, this is not the Pinckney Mansion site. I'm actually excited about those numbers here. We're not going to get those 40s and 50s like we do, at every location. That's an anomaly over there. So we did get a lot of terms that was kind of, so it was Jackson, right?
Oh, yeah.
We'll see if anything pops up next to that, but the reason why I'm excited about Jackson is because on the other side of this wall, John Calhoun is buried, who served underneath Andrew Jackson. So again, if something else pops up with like, oh, did we not get, nope, it didn't come I was thinking about the number of president that he was. He was our 7th vice president and 7th president, so the number 7 did not show up. We did get the word July 4th come up, right? So we heard July 4th. So that's relative to the doctor. We normally get double 7s here because his birthday is July 7th. So again, take that for what it's worth. Not to mention, that's also, we have the 7th vice president over here. The number 7 shows up here a lot, but to July specifically, he's been doing that, obviously, for like the past 2 or 3 months, even though we're not close to July, 2 months ago, we're still getting the month of the word July coming through. What was the other things? We had the name Mary show up, so that was pretty interesting. The name Jack showed up, so I'm excited about that, because obviously we talked about Calico Jack. We did get 17 and 13 back to back, didn't we, Chris? The Power magazine was finished in 1713, so he heard those 2 numbers back to back. So that's pretty interesting, the fact that he heard those that way. I think somebody else heard the number 20 showed up while we were here as well, so that's the year that Anne Bonny's trial was, of 1720. So again, lots of small little relative things. You're probably missing a lot in real time, which is great, which means it's going to make this part an easy time for me when I'm going through your recordings. So let's kind of go over the very quick answers, and I'm going to tell you what the hell we're going to do at the next location, because we're really going to mess with Randy's brain a little bit.
Love the right way.
Love the right way. So loving terms usually show up here. The funny thing is we normally get the song lyric of girls just want to have fun.
I got that. That's funny. I thought we were bonding, me and Anne.
Yeah. Any kind of female gender terms, like, usually are a big deal over here.
Oh yeah, which I forgot to tell you, just before we went to the alleyway, I heard highway to the danger zone.
We were in a little tiny highway. This is one of the few pictures of Anne Bonny you can find where she has a shirt on. The reason why is because she used to bare her breast to show.
Your spirit animal.
We're bonding here. She's telling me what happened to her kid.
She used to bare her breast to show men that they were just killed by a woman. You have to remember that she was dressed like a male pirate at the time. So, and I get a lot of teenage boys on this group. I don't need angry moms leaving. You're getting my point. So the name of her parents, William Cormac, Mary Brennan. This was not another subliminal trick, but we also had another Mary in the story. So we had Mary Reed, the lover, and Mary Brennan. Was it sex or 6?
I don't know, but that's what it sounded like to me. I'm listening to you and it.
She just got this. Can everybody tell? Somebody just switched with her. She's excited. She's getting words. But Mary Brennan was actually a servant for the Cormac family. So that's a whole other 30-minute scandal that we're not even going to cover. So Calico Jack, everybody wants to see what they base Johnny Depp off of. So that's why I like to, and it also reminds me to tell you the answers to what we're looking for there. This is Calico Jack. This is who they based Johnny Depp from. Believe it or not, this guy is named that because of the jackets he wore. They came from British captains that he killed. So his father was a tailor. Textiles were very important to him. So Calico Jack translates to fancy jacket. That's where the name comes from, Calico Jack. The name of his ship was called the Kingston. And don't expect the word Kingston to come through most of your spirit boxes, except for the one that Chris has, only specifically because his picks up more disembodied voices than others. The word king would actually suffice for this location. The ghosts have to use the same kind of principle of, like, what color is a big red barn? Blood. They have to use what they can to be able to give us the answers back. So king would actually suffice for the word generator, the Ouija board, and any other spirit boxes except for Chris's. So the name of the city where Anne grew up in Ireland was named Cork. And also, obviously, you can see that Anne had the color red hair. This particular location is one of the reasons why I give you that heated warning at the top of our tour. About 1.5 years ago in September, I brought my group back here, just like I normally do. Temperature is about the same as it is now, low 70s. And the kid next to me, and I had full group, 8, 9, 10 people. The kid next to me goes white as a ghost before we even get started. He's fainting. I have to pick him up by his armpit so he doesn't hit the ground and hit his head. His boyfriend picked him up from the other side of him. We took him over to that wall because there's a little ledge over there. We got him to sit down, gave him a bottle of water. He's feeling better. And then I told him the story of Anne Bonny that I've already told you. It's important to know they don't know anything about Anne Bonny yet. Afterwards, this used to be the last stop. I spread everybody out and said, go have fun, have a blast. Now, them 2 guys pull me aside and say, hey, Nick, we have to tell you, we are 2 transgender males. I had 2 females dressed like males on the tour, just like Anne and Mary in the story. So, it was one of those pieces where it makes sense, but it doesn't. I can't explain it. So you have to really watch, like, this is why I have you guys show up early. I start asking you the questions, like, are you guys coworkers, are you family? Like, what's the deal here? Whose idea was it? Like, that way I kind of get a feel for everybody. If I do get a psychic or medium on the tour, and if I give them a spirit box, they are not making it past the Pinckney Mansion site. There's too much EMF there, and the spirit box is way too many different types of communication on top of what they're already getting. So this is why I always say, like, I have to know who my people are and kind of get a gist of, like, who are, you know, and that's why I try to get most of your names down. I think I got, like, 90% of you guys down.
You've done really well.
So, but at the same time, that's why I give that heated morning at the top. The first time somebody ever passed out on my tour, I was in CPR class the next day. I wanted to make sure, and I carry a first aid pack with me at all times just to make sure. But again, you guys get the point. Like, that transgender story, like, that's not something I can make up. Like, it's not something I want to make. It just so happened to happen. So I can't explain it, but it did happen. But anyway, the next space. Aren't you guys all curious what the hell I'm going to do with Randy?
Like really
yeah. So Randy's probably already familiar with the Estes method. Are you familiar with what this is?
A little bit, but I'm not.
I'll explain it then. So in a nutshell, somebody's going to give him one of the earbudded spirit boxes, and we're going to blindfold him. And we're going to put noise-canceling headphones over top of those earbuds, and then I'm going to tell the rest of you the history of that location, and he's not going to know. I'm also going to need another volunteer to kind of sit in with him because we're going to do a double blind. There's enough of you here where we can do that.
Ooh, I'll do it.
Okay. So 2 people are going to sit out on a bench, and they're not going to know the history. When we come back, we're going to ask them 2 questions as if they're the ghost, and hopefully they're going to channel through them. We're going to film the entire thing. And they're not going to know a damn thing. They're also not going to know the damn history until they get their data back the next day. So, again, I'm not going to repeat the story twice. There's no point in doing that. You're going to get it back tomorrow. So, she's like, I'm game for that. So, there's a couple of things that go into this whole type of scenario. I'll have to give them a few tips and tricks, and we're only going to keep them under for 10 minutes. We do get some high EMF in that location, so those of you with EMF detectors, as I'm getting them set up, after I give you the history, I may spread you guys out around that park to, you know, go see if we get any EMF detection before we really get started with the Estes session. It is also a non-smoking park. I'm also a smoker, so if anybody needs to smoke, we are going about 2.5 blocks and passing by the circular church graveyard. For those of you with video cameras, if you want to get footage of that, there is said to be a ghost that walks through there. I've never caught it, but if you want to get footage, I'm not going to lose pace, so that way we can hurry up and go blindfold Randy. So I'm sure you guys are all excited to put some blindfolds on them and kind of see what the hell's going to come out of this. It is a lot of fun. And even for us on our end, it is still a lot of fun because he's not going to know anything. That's the cool part about it. Well, actually, he's not going to know anything either.
Do you want to put one of these next to me?
Well, we're all going to be surrounding you anyway.
Oh, okay.
Like, we're all going to be really tight-knit. But we're going to send 3 EMF detectors out into the field and around the park as I'm kind of getting you guys blindfolded and giving you your tips and tricks. Okay. I would say smoke them if you got them. Do you guys know any, or need to show me anything or tell me anything that you've heard or seen before we go talk?
Thompson.
Like water seal Thompson?
Just Thompson. Just the name Thompson.
I just meant like the spelling, like Thompson.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Thompson's water seal. So Anna, literally you got something to tell me.
Ship,
Whenever we go to
and then there was treatment twice, like 2 separate times. Ship, treatment, child, and then there was something else, but I can't remember it now.
Okay.
Hard carriage.
All right, let's go blindfold some people. That sounds like fun, right?
Yes.
Look at me if you got them.
You can have it.
Oh, you got that one now?
Yes.
What does that do?
It's
recording.
I had a flash.
Because you were by that.
All of a sudden.
It's recording.
You've never
We're
road
moving
trip
to the
with
next
me,
one,
Bubba.
so we can.
Well, it's just a
probably
big
turn it
dot.
off.
What?
Probably put your
How do I
fingers
do
right
that?
over it.
Where do I turn it off at?
The red. Just
Get up here, bud.
let's go look for some orbs.
He just said he wouldn't slow down.
Not too bad. Dang.
And none in there.
Right, up. Point statue.
Kevin's supposed to be taking pictures. He needs to take one picture. Look at him. You don't care.
Listen.
Which one do you have? You have the one that's not recording? You have the one that is recording. So you definitely want to take yours.
Which one you want, Jake? Which one you want?
I guess we'll do this one.
Is this your phone?
Yeah, so here's how things are going to work. So
Mine?
I thought you might have plugged it into your
the
phone.
equipment that they're going to be, needing to put on, but they're not going to put it on yet, specifically because if I'm blindfolding people in the
No, this is the phone, yes.
and when we come back, I'm going to walk them through how to go, like how to put everything.
Oh, look at him.
Let me look for body temperature changes. I'm gonna look for some blue.
Alright, so first time we came in here in November. By the way, cameras, other tours will pass through here, so just be cognizant of your areas around it. Nobody's in here now, so we're good, but just kind of keep an eye out. But anyway, first time I came.
Here, babe, find some ghosts.
What?
Find some ghosts. Find some body heat. That's an upside down face. Why is it upside down?
You have a self in it. Upside down.
It doesn't happen often. Once or twice a year. Alright, so.
The power must be dead on this one. Did the battery die?
Like so many times.
Alright, so we're going to
You're like, it's in my job.
we're going to circle around so nobody else can see what the hell we're doing over here when other tours start to pass through. When we get you all set up, we're going to keep you under for 10 minutes. This is the only thing in time out of the entire time we've had together. I'm not saying, oh, we've been at the Power Magazine for 12 minutes, we got to go. I ghost hunt for a living. The only reason I time this is to make sure you two are okay. So a family member, when it's time to tap you out, whether you're hyperventilating or I'm watching your breathing and I think it's a little time for you to come out, they're going to tap you lay. So that means take off all your gear on your own, and we're going to see how you're doing, or it just might be your 10 next time. If you're talking too loud, because you will be repeating everything you hear in real time. So if I'm asking questions, I want hopefully to get the answers from you. You just don't know who were his parents. So.
No, he went down a little bit too.
I sort of feel like I'm on a boat.
Right now?
We're enjoying it.
You ain't gonna talk him off that bench.
That's
You
what
gotta
I
save
didn't
his
think I
life.
It just feels like there's somebody.
He'll die on that bench.
I think he's fine out there. Again, remember to tell us what you're hearing. I may also ask yes/no questions, and you don't know that. It's okay to answer yes/no if you hear it.
Someone was getting home I'm not lying, dude. It's creepy. You want to go and check it out again?
Yeah.
But if you have to do your box, make sure that I come to your box.
Oh yeah, it's flashing. It'll group in your like a head.
You're not going to hear what I'm
Right. So what do you
You should think about it. First time around, I thought they were take
specifically, you're okay with the best view because there's no stick figure, the whole 9 yards.
So when do we start this? Whenever?
Whenever, yep.
This is
whenever.
an upside down.
I'll need
selfie
help with
mode.
these headphones. Somebody, please. I'm sure.
You good?
2 girls.
2 girls. Okay, we haven't even began yet, and they're getting stuff, which is good. Okay, so
Christians.
It is 11:13, so 10 minutes starts now. Henry Timrod, if you are here, we would like to know what your occupation is, please. I got 2 people sitting here listening. Ironically, one of them has the same name of your wife. Maybe we can make that connection and you can tell us later on what your wife's name was. But let's start off with your occupation, please.
Be aware of it.
I'm aware of what your occupation is. I need you to be aware of it.
Mountains.
Row of righteousness.
Henry Timrod, I need you to push through, and I need you to tell
Line
me.
of success.
Did she say right of success or light of success?
Line.
Get it?
Line.
That's good. Henry, tell us your occupation, please. We're going to lose time before it gets too long, Henry. We would like for you to start early. We're the only ones in here that we can see.
Gonna be all right.
Okay, good. I appreciate that. Let's go straight into your life.
Problems?
Can you? We get problems over here. So, Henry, can you tell us the name of your
50-year
wife?
bonus.
Tell us the name of your wife, please. This young lady to my right has the same name
Protected.
as your wife. I'll even take her maiden name as an
Turning
example.
people against you.
The maiden name was Goodwin, by the way. So if we get the word "good" as an answer, I'm good. I'm okay with that. Henry, come through and tell us your wife's name. Really quiet, Henry.
People.
Yeah, there's a lot of us. Got a big group tonight. I know you don't like that. This group is a lot different than the group I had here.
Told them.
Times changing.
Than I had the other night. This family here is trying to learn more about you. You need to tell us, please. Kind of fill in the blanks of what I couldn't tell them. We want to keep that on.
Nikita.
Bribery.
Sorry.
Thanks for checking.
I'm always checking in on you, Henry.
I get it.
I know, but you got to tell us a little bit of details. This is some vague stuff. I don't want to have just a casual conversation. I need the nitty-gritty details. Do we want to go to...
95.
Let's go into the answer that you normally give us. Can you tell me what
It's gonna
sound
be all right.
comes out of the St. Michael's Church? What sound do we get?
Will you?
227.
What,
To Las Vegas.
what's the sound we get out of St. Michael's Church? What do you have?
Spelled out no.
Henry, that's not funny.
Like
Like a no-no?
Like and no, just immediate no.
Henry? Notice they didn't say anything while we were making our jokes.
Yeah.
Mine said nod whenever you said, I know you don't like, there's a lot of people.
Yeah, like that. Yep, I don't like
That
it.
summer.
Henry, do we not want to talk about your wife? Give us a no if you want us to move on.
Another name.
Another name. Okay. Let's move on to your son. Let's talk about your son. Can you tell me his birthday? I'm okay with just the number of the date. That's proof enough
Need
for us.
some.
All the conversations.
I know, I talk about him a lot, but that's a nice cool breeze coming through.
Tried.
Tell me the name of your son or maybe his birthday. I'm okay with just the number of his birthday.
Tires and auto service.
Henry, push through, buddy. Really need you to push through. This is a good group here.
Marketer.
Henry, give us a number of the date.
Love is a diamond.
the
I
na-
think my battery's dead.
How many got?
2348 760.
I didn't make any sense of that. By the way, I'm looking for the number 24. I'm sure you guys have picked up on.
Not genuine.
We are being genuine tonight, Henry. This is a pretty solid group here. No hecklers. Nobody giving us a hard time. Let's talk about Willie.
It's a long way from home.
Yeah, can you tell me where he's buried? He's buried right next to Henry. It's in Columbia, just in case we get any kind of clues to that. Henry, can you tell us where your son Willie is buried?
2.0.
Lots of numbers. Henry.
2010.
Taylor.
2010.
Okay, that was weird.
Me time.
Alabama.
He's not buried in Alabama.
Lady.
We tried to talk about Katie already. You wanted,
333.
you wanted us to move on.
Tickets on sale now.
Neat. We're at about 6 minutes so far, guys, just so you know. Like, this doesn't take too long.
May the Lord.
Well, we're going to get into those religious terms now, huh? Henry, let's go right back to the simple question of, tell us your occupation.
So much love.
Henry, are there other people here with you?
Higher up.
That's a yes/no question. Henry, are there other spirits here with you that we can't see? Henry, tell us how many other spirits are here. That number's wrong.
Wild cherry.
Life.
Henry, how many spirits are here with you tonight?
Different. It's 2 towns.
Just me? Like M-E? So Henry, is it just you? Just say yes. If it's just you, say yes. They can hear you. You know how this works.
$69.59.
More details.
Solid pine.
Who else is here with us? Say your first name, please.
Situations.
No, I want the first name. Quit hiding yourself. I know who you are. You need to come through and tell us your first name to verify.
Oh, yeah.
Could it be? A lot of problems.
What was the first one?
Right.
Like write a name?
Always drop a knife. 95.
You need to give us your first name, please. Who else do we have here? I'm excited about the right, but I'm also excited about the wrong. I'm going to explain here in just a moment. Dr. Ladd, if you're here, you need to come through. Give us your first name.
Jesus.
Significant way.
Did you just say Joseph?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Dr. Ladd, welcome.
Built from
Maybe.
shame.
Call an angel.
Tell us what happened down at Philadelphia Alley, Mr. Dr. Ladd.
Twice in verse 10.
Dr. Ladd, why are you over here?
Said hello.
You just want to say hello. Dr. Ladd, I tell your story every night. Why don't you give us something specific about where you were shot? You guys obviously watch out for the word knee, leg, something, anything relative to that area.
You have the strength.
Dr. Ladd, tell us where you were shot, please. This just took a weird turn, didn't it, everybody?
It's all about you.
It's not about me. about you, Dr. Ladd.
Loved it.
Henry Timrod. If you're both here together,
Reaction to Greg Burhall.
Dr. Ladd,
Thermal.
we need to. Said thermal. Okay. Dr. Ladd, we need to shut this down. These folks have been.
Cult?
They've been under long enough. Do you want us to leave? I know you're just getting warmed up.
Pastor Jeffrey?
Because no one can do it all.
You're right. You're absolutely right. This is why I bring friends every night.
Take me back to one of those days.
Wow. Dr. Ladd, I'm
Hoping to come
Praising
back.
me together.
I'm going to come back tomorrow. I'm going to say goodnight. Can you say goodnight back, whoever's here? I'm pretty sure we have Dr. Ladd here with us, and I appreciate that.
In the night?
Close. Say end of night. Okay. I'm gonna call it. Thank you, Dr. Ladd. Thank you, Mr. Timrod. I will be back tomorrow night. Family members, let's tap them on their legs, please. Somebody wake them up.
Ugh.
Okay, first things first.
I can't get it off my ear.
That's 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were
Did it feel longer or shorter?
that was 12 minutes.
Okay.
Really?
Did it feel longer or shorter?
It felt longer.
Longer.
Most people say it feels like 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, it did not feel long. I didn't think it felt long.
All right, so I'm just gonna
No,
turn
the
this one
spirit
off.
was
so you
for-
have that specific-
I was waiting for her like face to contort, you know.
Whenever you said that they were going to go.
Give me a butthole.
Again?
Let's not get back to the All right, here's why I'm excited. First off, you guys feel okay, right?
Yeah.
So I can kind of get into why I'm so excited right now. So perfect. I'm actually gonna come over here so I can address everybody. So a couple of things were said. I know I kind of went into away from Henry Timrod and kind of went into Dr. Ladd. Here's the reason why. First off, Randy said the number 59. Anybody remember the address of where the doctor lived?
Oh, yeah,
59 Church Street. That is 0.3 miles this way. So it's very close. We've been noticing more and more things have been coming through about traits about the house, and I've been kind of like, he said something, it was like something like solid pine or something made out of wood. I don't know what that house is made out of, but you better damn well believe I'm going to look into it when I get back. So I was excited about that. I'm like, okay, maybe we got something else going on. We did ask the question again of like what Henry's job was. We didn't get a direct answer here. The word right came up on the word generator list, and then 2 words after that we had the word drop. I want you to think about what Dr. Ladd is famous for. Take 10 paces, turn, drop. So, kind of take that for what it is. Then he actually, when I asked for the first name, we got a first name. He actually said the name Joseph. So I was pretty stoked about that. Yes.
Yeah, that's cool.
So we actually had, I was up to a count of at least 5 things that were relevant to Dr. Ladd specifically, and like 1 or 2 things kind of relevant to Henry Timrod. Normally for me in a 10-minute time span, 4 direct answers is a win. Like that is a successful session in this short amount of time. So a 2 would be slightly successful, and of course anything less than that is kind of like, it was a win. We worked, we tried, kind of thing. I'm actually really stoked. This is probably one of the better sessions I've had in probably a good 3 or 4 weeks, where we've actually gotten direct answers. Most of them lately have been kind of, you guys get the point. And I tell them at the end of the night, like, you guys look at this, and you know, they kind of all laugh, and that's kind of how it rolls on. Now, some of you are looking at me like, how are you possibly making anything out of any of this? If they were hearing that, I separated the recording from Randy's device, so that way you're going to have just what he heard during this time that we were in this space, and you're going to have a separate set of notes just from that. So I am going to go, rewatch the video from the infrared camera so I can actually take notes of what was said in real time. I only do that if I feel like it's actually necessary in a case like this. This way I'm not writing things down, I can stay focused on what's actually happening. I'm stoked about this. Those of you with EMF detectors, I'm going to ask all 3 of you to take a quick lap through the grassy areas around the park, just 1 full lap. Let me know what you guys find. Everybody else, just kind of hang out here. I'm going to start collecting your devices and kind of, telling you what your data is going to look like. Wow.